cold, wintry weather as far as I'm concerned. This is what winter looks like in the Sunshine State. Clouds and a little bit of cool weather. I'll take that compared to what everyone else is dealing with. Welcome in to Monday on XL Primetime, a Mokama Beer Company Monday. And we'll say today, minus Mia, she is out at the Players Media Day, so she's having a good time out there. And hopefully the rain has held off as they're getting ready to put that golf course, really on full display. We are a little over a month away from the Players, which will be one of the crown jewel events of the PGA Tour schedule. But we got football to talk about today. We've got Super Bowl week to talk about, prop bets to hand out, and we got a special guest coming up in the second half of this hour, Gerald Ingram, who coached Fred Taylor, when he was a great one here as a Jacksonville Jaguar. So we're going to welcome him in, and hopefully he'll storytell a little bit with us. But it is Super Bowl week, and we're looking at everything that's going on with the Chiefs and the Niners, and we're going to start handing out some prop bets today. But Big Sirs, I look among us, including John Party over there. None of us have played in the Super Bowl, except you.
I've dreamed about it.
Yeah.
Well, it is Super Bowl weeks, and I don't care how long it's been. Actually, it's been 28 years since I played in the Super Bowl. Absolutely 28 years. And it's some of my fondness and not so fondest memories. But as far as Monday goes, Monday is always the flight in. All right, our Super Bowl at that particular time was in Arizona. We all flew in. Hey, thank you, JJ. I appreciate it. We all flew in, and the exciting part about it is that once you get off that plane, you get on your bus, and you take the police escort to your hotel. When you get to your hotel or whatever like that, at that particular time, it was still fans everywhere. There was fans outside of the hotel, inside the hotel with the chants, here we go, Steelers. You got your family there. You've already accommodated them. You put them in the hotel and all that. So everything is about the fanfare today. Everything is about the fanfare, the seriousness about the game. You still got it in your back of your mind, but you're trying to enjoy the festivities of being in a Super Bowl. And listen, I've been in 3 national championship games, played in 2. It definitely the Super Bowl and the week you're at the Super Bowl, it rivals any national championship game you could ever play.
Did you have the bye week?
Yeah. We didn't have the bye week.
Didn't.
We went right into it, because I believe we played our game maybe that Saturday. We beat the Colts. It was Jim Harbaugh, was the quarterback, in the Hail Mary that he threw in the end zone that was incomplete. Damn near close, though. Real close. Real close. So we played the game Saturday, JJ, and we found out the NFC team later on that evening. Next thing you know, Monday, we're on the plane.
See, so in the 90s, because we were talking with Yancey Thigpen the other day, who was a member of the Tennessee Titans, and that was the year 1999. That was the
last year.
Yeah, a little where this team was hoping they were going, and everyone had to have their bags packed. Our bags were packed, and it wasn't for your Jacksonville Jaguars because it was the Tennessee Titans.
Stuff happens.
That went instead, but that was one of the ones that was just a turnaround.
I mean, Yancey said it. That was the last year that they had the quick turnaround. I think Yancey said right after that they gave you a bye after the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl from then that point on was like you had an extra week.
Right.
And then, because even the Pro Bowl, at that particular time, the Pro Bowl was after the Super Bowl. Now the Pro Bowl's before the Super Bowl.
Oh, you're talking about like the Pro Bowl, the 64-59 final that they had yesterday?
Was it that? I didn't watch it. I didn't. I'm sorry.
64-59.
You watched it.
You'll be happy to know the 64-59 is a combination of the actual game score and skills competition. So that's how it played out.
Oh, that's how it played out.
Yeah. Just so you know.
Was there a dunking pool there too?
I don't know if there was,
okay.
but it's so funny. Like I know you hate the actual the skills competition.
I do. But you know what? I do. What I can appreciate is the fact that those guys that were there, they're among the elite of the elite.
Yeah.
When you make the Pro Bowl, I don't care in what capacity, you make it to the Pro Bowl, you get to put that on your resume. You get to put Pro Bowl such and such.
And I do agree. You can't trash that part of it because that's recognizing the greats in the game. But I'll admit that it ain't a bad thing to watch because you get to see the personalities of the players and you get to see them in a different environment. Now, screw the flag football, okay? I don't even need to see that. But you still get to see these athletes competing, which is all really the fans want. They want that little celebrity type of moment.
Yeah, and listen, for the fans' sake, this is probably the first opportunity they really get to see their players without the helmet in the uniform on. You know what I'm saying? So they get to interact with them, take pictures, selfies, and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of cool with it, you know.
Well, I personally miss Sean Taylor decapitating Brian Moorman, those type of plays.
Those are always
We'll never
good.
get those back.
Well, I tell you what, your guy did that your man RG3, he actually wore Sean Taylor's Pro Bowl jersey to kind of commemorate the fact that you remember that hit that Sean Taylor, you know. I mean, leave it to a Kane to play the game the way it's supposed to be.
Well, you figure there's only two memories that most fans have, and you'd have to go all the way back and find Pete Rose when he destroyed the catcher at home plate. Yeah, and it is his career basically in an exhibition game.
Was that an exhibition game? I remember that he ran him over or something like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ended his career, but he played it.
I mean, Ray Fosse was blocking the plate.
Yeah.
What the hell's he supposed to do?
And I think it was the winning run.
Yeah,
stand there and get tagged?
Yeah, you live and learn.
And to be fair to Brian Moorman, a punter, he got right back up. Took it like a man.
Yeah, good.
It did.
And so, look, I love the guys that the game, if it's a game, if I'm between the lines, we're competing. That's just the way it is, which I'm okay with. Now, there's some NFL news that we need to get into, and then I want to chase the Jaguars Today topic because I mentioned to them, they asked in a 10-year period, assuming Trevor Lawrence signs a big multi-year, multi-million-dollar deal, what's the best you can hope for? And you know, it's kind of, you know, getting in wish land, but whatever. Should you expect them to get to the Super Bowl? Where do you think they will get? Well, I'm talking to them, and I'm like, how many quarterbacks right now in the National Football League have made it to the Super Bowl? We're talking few and far between right now. So it is kind of a wide open territory because the guys that played for so many years over the last 5 years have exited. Drew Brees has left. Tom Brady has left. Of course, Peyton Manning has left. But you take a look at Aaron Rodgers is still playing, but he was hurt. You take a look at all the spots that they took up as Super Bowl starting quarterbacks, you're down to Pat Mahomes,
Goff,
Matt Stafford, Jared Goff,
Joe Flacco.
Joey. He's still got
Joey Burrow.
Joe Burrow. You could still count him among them. Okay. Russell.
Russ.
You can still count him as far as
Jalen Hurts from last year.
Jalen Hurts definitely.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, Garoppolo counts.
Is he still playing?
Yeah,
he's not playing, but he's on.
Okay, he's limping somewhere.
Yeah, but at least he's on the Vegas roster.
Oh, okay, he's on the roster.
And he did appear in a Super Bowl. So when you go from Super Bowl winning down to Super Bowl, at least making an appearance in the Super Bowl, the list is a little bit bigger, but it ain't that much bigger.
Yeah. Well, you know what it reminds me of, Joe, a little bit, because when I first came into the league, it was hard to make the Pro Bowl because as a youngster, you had to know you had to stay in your lane. All right.
Yep.
I had the Zimmermans in front of me. I had the Tony Joneses in front of me, the Bruce Armstrongs, the Richmond Webbs in front of me. You know, so I was young.
Those some good dudes.
Some good dudes. So I knew Jumbo Elliott, those type of guys. So I knew that young, I had to wait my turn. And then when my turn came, then comes Ogden and Boselli and Walter Jones and all that.
Also good dudes.
So also great dudes or whatever. So when you look at the Super Bowl and all those guys are gone now, there's only one dude in the AFC that the mountain you got to climb. That's Mount Mahomes.
Yeah, it is.
It is Mount
Mahomes.
It's a big ass.
I refer to Mount JoJo at home quite often, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
He's the culmination of all those dudes.
Yeah.
As long as he's in the AFC, Mount Mahomes is the mountain that you got to climb.
Yeah. And I'm telling you what, this guy, all right, so think about this. And we're going to set up our Super Bowl props. We have a full list of props. And by the way, I'm going to force you as we do these, you got to get 3 prop bets correct. If you get 2 or 3, you're going to go into a drawing. I'm going to try and give some good stuff away from my beer boys and from the Golf Club of Southampton. But the Mahomes game against against the San Francisco 49ers, going back 4 years ago, they were trailing by double digits going into the fourth quarter, and they scored the next 21 points. So then you're thinking, this guy's going to be unstoppable. Well, then he comes back the next year, and the unstoppable beat him, the GOAT, Tom Brady. And then you take a look at what happened to him with that pass rush against him. It was unreal. Then take a look at the pass rush against Joey Burrow the following season. And the pass rush is real. If you don't have that along with your quarterback, you ain't got it all. And that's why this football team needs to make sure they secure the quarterback and those guys that can deliver pressure to the passer. Because you know it, Leon.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I was actually watching that Super Bowl on NFL Network. You know how they show all the Super Bowls?
Oh, it's awesome.
And they were giving, it was awesome. And they were mic'd up. And what's his name? Pierre-Paul? I mean,
JPP?
JPP. I mean, he was talking smack to Mahomes the whole time. They were knocking him down, just pressure after pressure. And the Chiefs had to do something after that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, you got this amazing talent behind you, a quarterback, and you've got absolutely no protection of them.
Yeah.
And that year in free agency, when they got him a left tackle, a left guard, a center, and a right tackle.
I'm glad you're bringing it up because think about this. The Kansas City Chiefs, when they won their Super Bowl, they had a fairly good offensive line. But then Eric Fisher had gone down and gotten hurt, and they basically were saying goodbye to him. They go out and get Orlando Brown. They have him there for a minute, however long you want to describe it. Then he wants a big deal. They say goodbye to him. They bring Donovan Smith in and Juwan Taylor. They will now be in 3 Super Bowls. Is that right? No, 4 Super Bowls. 4 Super Bowls with basically 4 different offensive lines. It's nuts what they've had, what they either have had to do or been able to do.
Well, if you really think about it, we were talking about this in the pre-show. There's Mahomes, Kelsey, Chris Jones, and a bunch of guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they keep winning.
Yeah.
And they keep winning Super Bowls.
But what is also classic is just going back and seeing some of the guys that were there when they first made it. I'll remind everybody, we're sitting here dreaming of a Super Bowl, and it would be great. When Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs won their Super Bowl, first Super Bowl 4 years ago in this era, it was 50 years since the last one.
Yeah.
50 flipping years since the last Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl.
Since the cigarette in the Fresca.
Yeah.
Halftime with Len Dawson.
Yeah, exactly, when he had the heater.
Yeah.
And so that's how far back it was for a storied franchise who had been to countless playoffs, countless championship games, had not gotten the job done, and they finally got the job done.
In fact, they had a reputation of not being able to get to the big one.
They had lost 4 straight home playoff games at that point and really got it going. And then what's nuts is that Tom Brady beat Mahomes in a Patriots uniform, went to the Super Bowl and won. Then Mahomes and Kansas City come back, win, and then Tom Brady goes to Tampa and beats the Chiefs again. So if you're looking at it,
right, Brady got help from D Ford too. Let's make that very clear.
True,
because without
it was
that play,
all D Ford.
The Chiefs is a year earlier.
Tom Brady had lost that game.
Yeah,
and D Ford allowed him to be the winner and Mahomes to be the loser. That's how. Even though we always just put that sticker on the quarterback, there's so many other things.
It's. We were thinking. I was thinking about this over the weekend with Mahomes. He's almost like, and this is, I can't believe I'm even saying this. He's almost like a Jordan type of guy, where he's so flipping good, that there's no getting by him. There's no getting by him unless he makes mistakes. You know what I mean? Like you yourself are not going to beat him. If he makes mistakes, then you've got a chance.
Yeah. And look, I did. You just went back and you mentioned those offensive lines, Leon. That defensive pass pressure got to him. That's what lost him that football game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Tampa Bay I mean, you're talking about Jordan, but the Buccaneers defense was the Pistons at some particular point. I mean, they roughed them up. You got to get the whole knock on Tom Brady is that you can't give him time. You got to get him off his spot. You got to get pressure on him. You got to make him be a tap dancer. And every Super Bowl that he's lost. 4-man rush, cover 2 defense, cover 3, whatever. But your 4-man rush is going to get home and put pressure on them, and he's not going to have that time to throw the ball. So, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is not an exception to that. If you get pressure on him, he's moving the maneuver. He's a magic man. He's a Houdini. But you got to get hits on him. You definitely got to get hits on him.
The problem is even when he has a high ankle sprain, sometimes he still wins.
That's true.
And he has a backup. Sometimes the backup comes in and goes 98 yards.
99 yards on you.
Honestly, I will never get over Chad Henne. I will never get over it.
That was crazy, man.
Yeah, and I'm again, we're going back like you're saying, watching some of these Super Bowls, and Henne win in the Super Bowl second quarter. I'm pretty sure Mahomes gets rolled. And that ankle, he comes up where he can hardly even walk. And you're like, oh, my God. You look over on the sidelines, Henne's starting to warm up. And they're all like, oh, my gosh. You go, no. That's the same cat that 3 weeks before that had taken the offense 90-plus yards. What was that total number of plays against the Jaguars?
There was a few penalties for them.
Oh, of course
but, still, that's going to happen in 98 yards.
Like 13 plays or something.
It seemed like it was 13, 14 plays. And by the way, with the penalties, that was on the Jags. There's always somebody that's helping somebody else. It's like when you go back to the Kansas City Chiefs when it looked like they were on the ropes. It was Baltimore that played with a lack of discipline, remember, on the defensive side of the ball, and gave them opportunities to kick a field goal before the half.
I mean,
and
do
then
you really
Zay
want to
Flowers.
relive this?
How many?
Do you really want to relive it?
By the way, the longest
I bet
drive
it
in
was-
postseason history for the Chiefs.
Do you really want to relive
who have
this?
been
No, I
around
don't.
since Super
Because
Bowl
I'm going to
I.
make you relive it right now.
Because I know all Duval right now is not happy with us
12
reliving
plays,
this.
98 yards, 6 minutes and 5 seconds.
Does it show aided by how many penalties?
Henny to Kelsey for 6. Pacheco for 8. Pacheco for 7. Henny pass incomplete.
Oh.
Henny short pass to Tony.
All right, let me
To
lie down.
Kadarius Tony for 8.
Oh.
There was no
Henny
size.
short pass to Kelsey for 4. Moore left end to KC for 3 yards. Sky Moore on a reverse for 3 yards, okay?
He doesn't even dress anymore.
No.
Timeout.
Healthy
Henny.
scratch.
Short pass to Kelsey for 4 yards. Penalty on Jax. Arden Key. Roughing the passer.
Thank you, Arden. You
Chad
savage.
Henne. Pass incomplete to Blake Bell.
Another former Jag.
2nd and 10 of the Jax 43. Pacheco left end. Rush for 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? 39 yards. 39 yards for Pacheco, okay? 1st and goal to Jax 4. Pacheco up the middle for 1. 2nd and goal. Excuse me, for 3. 2nd and goal from the 1. Kelsey pass from Henne. TD.
Oh, my
Dang, so
God.
they even threw with Kelsey from the 1 just to be like, yeah, we're doing this.
I'm surprised he didn't do the no
Screw
look like
you
he did a
guys.
few years earlier. He tried that no look and it failed.
I didn't even mean. I apologize. All Duval, I apologize.
That
to
was
you.
inappropriate.
I did not mean for Matt to go down memory
You
lane
asked
like
for it,
that.
man, so I gave
but,
it to you.
that do hurt. That do hurt. That's for sure. That's how close you were, and then you realize how far away you were. And so just getting back to the actual quarterbacks that have played in the Super Bowl. Is Trevor good enough? Is this team good enough? So much has to go your way. Mahomes, when he got hurt in the game against Jacksonville, you're thinking it's now going to go Jacksonville's way because he had to limp off and go into the locker room, and you weren't sure he was going to come out. And Mr. Henne, check down Chad, takes him the full length of the football field. Agonizing, Leon.
Yeah, it is. Well, you had mentioned Trevor. Is he? Listen, when you're the number 1 pick overall, fairly unfairly, the franchise is anticipating or expecting you to take you to places they've never been.
Yeah, you got to get them there.
Because you're, first of all, if you got the number 1 pick overall, that means you suck. Okay, so if you get the quarterback that you think you have, he's supposed to be a franchise changer. Yeah, I mean, Trevor, he's expected to come here in Jacksonville and elevate this franchise. And winning a Super Bowl would be, listen, if he wins a Super Bowl here in Jacksonville, all the guys before, like me and everybody else, we disappear. I mean, if you want to see us disappear, win the Super Bowl, all right? Or else we're just going to keep talking.
I think it would be the opposite. I think
No.
the franchise in general would be like
more recognized.
Yeah, people would talk about it more and people would remember more. And I was actually thinking the other day, just dreaming on the couch, like, imagine how badass a parade would be.
Oh, it'd be so
just like we'd get off, or we'd do the show live from the parade, and we'd be just having
We'd be
a
on a
blast.
float,
Dude,
man.
we'd be drinking.
Yeah,
oh
JJ,
my
we'd be
God.
on the float.
Yes,
Float.
I love that.
Are you serious?
Richie,
Now,
make it happen.
Leon will
Are
be
you
retired
serious?
now to pasture at that point, but
Yeah.
still, we will.
I might probably
Not
want
only
to go
that,
to
we'd have a
float.
keg on the float.
As much as I tear into the Jaguars losing, you think they're going to give me a float? You serious?
You'll be on our float, bro.
All right, well, if I'm on
Yeah,
your
you're on
float,
our
then
float.
that's
Keg
fine.
flowing.
All right, then. But
All
then
right.
I tell you what, the Jaguars not putting me on no damn float.
All right, now let me just float some of these names by you.
Get some Popeyes on there for you, too, bro.
Nah, I can appreciate that.
Let me
Tight
float
lady
these
on the
names
bottom.
by
Tight
you.
lady, too.
This is the last decade, basically. The math says you have to add a year, but the last decade, I'm going to go from 13 to 23. Starting quarterbacks in the Super Bowl, Russell v. Peyton. That was 2013. 2014, Tommy versus Russell. 2015, Peyton versus Cam Newton. So you had 3 repeat performers there. 2016, Tommy again versus Matt Ryan. 2017, Nick Foles. Ever heard of him? He has a statue. Nick Foles versus Tom Brady. It was endless with Tommy. We know that. The next year, Tom Brady versus Jared Goff. The next year, Mahomes versus Garoppolo. Then back to Brady versus Mahomes. Stafford versus Burrow, Mahomes versus Hurts, and now Mahomes again versus Brock Purdy with his first name being inserted into this. So
which one of these is not like the other in that entire group there?
Mr. Irrelevant. But dude's getting it done. He really is.
He is.
And when you're under center and performing like that, you look like a number one overall pick. That's for sure. All right, now let's set this up because we're going to go back in the past in just a second and talk with Gerald Ingram, Freddie T's running backs coach, and get his idea of how good he thinks Freddie is when you judge him among the greats in the game of football and if he's Hall of Fame worthy. Yesterday, February 4th, second year anniversary of Doug Peterson being hired by this franchise. So 2 years ago yesterday. Now I'll go back to our show a year ago. What were we doing? Well, Doug Peterson had reclaimed Jacksonville's postseason position.
Somebody was talking about Super Bowl. Somebody at this table. I'm not going to say who it was, but somebody at this table was talking about Super Bowl.
It's called off-season optimism, man. All right.
And so this time a year ago, the sky was the limit. Dougie was fresh and looking like he had built the beginnings of an empire, okay? Jacksonville had reclaimed its reputation. We are back. That was a year ago. Now, here we are, 2 years removed from Doug Peterson being hired as the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach. How do you feel about him now? 641-1010. Let's hit the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. How much of your opinion has changed? How much of your opinion you fully support him? However you want to describe it. But give us 2 years to the day, and this was yesterday, that he was hired here as your Jaguars head coach. How do you feel about Doug Peterson manning your Duval ship?